So I met my husband in Target a long time ago when I was in high school, and we journeyed on to the adventures of being in the Navy. From there, we had 4 children of ourselves traveling the world to very many places. I have one child born in across the United States. I'm a daycare provider in home, and I love my job. Being a daycare provider, you hear many, many, many stories about children from all sorts of walks of life. A lot of my friends have had very rough journeys, roads, having children, and that's what made me want to look into having, children for other people, into surrogacy. It took a lot of research for me to figure out, okay, is this the right thing for me? Just talking to my friends and listening to their stories of failed IVF journeys, IUIs, and here I am having 4 children and I didn't know what to say to them. It made me want to pursue this. So my life before surrogacy was normal, except for I felt bad for my friends. Like, why can't they have children and I can? I'm blessed with 4 and they're not. So I started researching and I started looking into it more. And that's how I got into it. And then it was a sign that my neighbor who worked for Hawaii Surrogacy, which I had no idea, I just happened to mention it. And she's like, you know what? I work for a surrogacy agency. Do you want me to look into it for you? And I was like, yes, this is my sign. I was made to do this. When I was talking to my husband that I originally wanted to get into surrogacy, he had a lot of questions. He wasn't sure if this was okay with him. No, he wasn't educated. Once we started asking the right questions and starting to get the answers that we needed, we were okay. We knew that the child was not ours, which was, for him, it was an issue. Like, are we going to get stuck with this child? What happens if the parents don't want it? Or what's going to happen with my wife? All of these things were going around in his head, and he had no idea until, again, we were educated. And this was something that we were both okay with, and we got into it, and it was okay. When I was researching surrogacy and trying to figure out if I wanted to do this or not, I happened to be talking to my neighbor just on the driveway outside, just having a really interesting conversation and kind of just telling her my feelings about things. And she kind of mentioned, hey, I work for an agency. Do you want me to look into it for you? And I was like, yes, this is me. When I was looking at the IP profiles, what stuck out to me when I picked and I selected the family that I did pick, I didn't want to be just a person carrying your baby. I wanted to be an extension of their family. I wanted to feel like I am a person too. And when I was looking at their profile and I saw all the pictures and all the family gatherings that they posted and their personal letter, it made me feel like I knew who they were and I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to give them that missing piece to their puzzle. Feedback that I got from family and friends was kind of mixed. Some people super supported me and some people were kind of on the fence about it. I think the problem with surrogacy is there's not a lot of information out there for people to kind of read about, and so people automatically judge. They don't understand the process. So with friends and family, I was able to answer questions that they had and give them the answers that maybe they were looking for that they didn't know about. The more I got into the process, they started understanding more and seeing what I truly was doing. The support that I got from Hawaii Surrogacy was absolutely amazing. They are literally like your family. You can pick up the phone and just give them a call. Yes, maybe they're sleeping or they're eating with their family, but they'll take 5 seconds to just maybe talk you down, or if you're having an issue, or just telling you you're doing a good job. And sometimes we need that. And with my coordinator, I was able to just do exactly that. Even if I was full of hormones and I was crying and I just needed somebody to just listen to me, that was my coordinator, and that's the kind of support that I was receiving. My favorite moment of this last journey that I tell everybody about is we were going into ultrasound. We were in the 20 weeks. I can't remember the exact week. And the ultrasound tech said, yeah, you can bring everybody in the room. And my mom was visiting, the parents were in the room. Actually, my coordinator came as well. And this was the first time where we were allowed to bring all these people in because of COVID. She's doing the ultrasound, and all of a sudden, the baby gave us a shaka. And this was amazing knowing that this was a Hawaiian little baby and he was being born in Hawaii. And we got it on video, and they gave us stills of the ultrasound. So that was my ultimate favorite moment. One of the toughest parts about surrogacy, sometimes with having intended parents, is knowing where your boundaries are. What do you want them to be involved with? Because sometimes you'll get parents that want to be super involved, and you have to know what you're comfortable with in the process. You always have to discuss with the parents everything. And sometimes the difference between having your own baby and someone else's baby is sometimes they want all the testing, or they want all the ultrasounds or all of the appointments. And sometimes you're like, oh no, I wouldn't have done that, with my own. And sometimes that's challenging. One piece of advice that I would give to anybody looking into surrogacy or starting a journey is don't jump on the first profile that you receive just because you're excited. Yes, all of these parents want children, but at the same time, you need to read it and make sure that these families that you're picking are also on the same wavelength as you, and that you guys can communicate together and it can be a successful journey, and that you're happy and they're happy, not just them at the same time. When it came to my children and explaining surrogacy, I did it through reading books, and there's a lot of books out there about surrogacy. One book that sticks out to me is My Mom Was a Surrogate. I read that to my kids all the time. I didn't hide the process of surrogacy for them, and I wanted them to understand. My children were also at an age where they started realizing that families are all different and they come from all different walks of life. They could be two moms, two dads, a mom and a dad. It could be grandma or your aunt and uncles. So this book really outlined that, my mom's a surrogate and this is who she's being a surrogate for. And I explained that to my children. While out and about, yes, I've had many people approach me asking me, oh, hey, how far along are you? What are you having this time? And I just kindly let them know, yes, I'm 27 weeks, but he's not mine. And that actually opens the door for these people to ask questions. And you'd be extremely surprised how comfortable people will ask all sorts of questions because they really don't know about surrogacy. And there really isn't that much information out there until you're actually in this community and you understand the process yourself. And now these people know, and it lets them ask the questions, even though they might get emotional because they're battling their own journeys and whatever they're going through trying to get to parenthood themselves. My relationship with my intended parents is actually pretty amazing. During the pregnancy, they made me feel like family. I was very involved with things that they were doing. I was invited to their baby showers during the pregnancy. After the pregnancy, I'm now Auntie Cat, and I visit baby whenever I get an opportunity to, whenever they open the door and say, hey, come on over. And me and my husband will be the first ones to come over and love on baby, just like, he was one of our own, even though he is not. And we are literally Auntie Cat, Uncle Josh.